Haw itself is really rocky and splashy, and it feels like you're in a mountain river in the middle of the Piedmont. There are a lot of hiking trails, there are a lot of paddle trails, there are a lot of fish and birds and wildlife, and it's just really accessible. Everyone is welcome to camp or paddle or hike and explore this resource however they'd like. Right now we're getting all of these different analyses from all these different labs, and it's a lot of data to manage and keep in one usable template. We've got all of these different monitoring programs, whether it's Riverwatch or CAFOs, and all of these other issues that are very pollution specific. We've been working with Internet of Water and some folks at Water Reporter to get all of our data on a virtual platform so we can have a map and show our sample locations and show all the samples that we've collected and the wealth of data and information that we have as an organization. I train volunteers to go out 4 times a year and monitor for chemical parameters, physical parameters, biological parameters. So they're looking at whether the stream has access to a floodplain, how eroded is it, and then they're also looking at how healthy is the macroinvertebrate life there. We're taking pH, oftentimes we're also taking dissolved oxygen, and all of that information is put in a survey 4 times a year, and we send that data to the state. And we're able to track trends in water quality health that same way. We have several teams who have been doing this 4 times a year for decades. On Jordan Lake, we do a lot of E. coli sampling for our swim guide program. There are a lot of public access beaches, swim areas that are meant for swimming. They have sandy beaches. So we sample for E. coli at all of those beaches once a week during the summer. And we post whether or not the beaches have safe levels of bacteria. If it's too high, then we report that it's not safe to swim there. We also have done a lot of turbidity monitoring. After huge storm events or flood events, the Haw carries so much sediment into Jordan Lake, and that sediment in times of high flow actually reaches the upper sections of the lake. So this meter will show us the pH, the dissolved oxygen, alkalinity and conductivity, and the temperature and turbidity, all from one quick reading. There's a lot of upstream dischargers who are discharging industrial contaminants directly into the Haw. Pittsboro is the only town in the entire watershed that pulls directly from the Haw for their drinking water supply. So the dam that you can see in the distance, that is the tail end of Pittsboro's water supply. So the drinking water intake is directly upstream. We have been sampling for PFAS compounds and 1,4-dioxane upstream and downstream of suspected industries. That's an important factor, a piece of data that we really want to be able to get out to the public, to all the community members in Pittsboro and all of these towns that are impacted by this issue. Able to have a centralized location for all of this information and have visualized maps of where our sample locations are and what those sample results are. Because you can look at a spreadsheet and show what the number of E. coli counts are for a sample, but if you can't actually see on a map visually where that location is in a stream and what the upstream impacts could possibly be, then you can't really make the tie of what could be causing that. And so all of this data that we're collecting, we'd like to continue to push it out to the public so they know what's in the surface water in the Haw and what's in their drinking water. We share our data with really anyone that asks for it. The Department of Water Resources uses our data for the Integrated Water Quality Report. Water basin planners look at the entire basin and make plans for how nutrients are managed or whatever it may be, how to address stormwater issues. So they also use our data to look at the entire story throughout the Haw River Basin. We've worked with representatives in the House to introduce bills to regulate and increase transparency, so the state agencies have the information that they need to protect water quality and regulate. We're showing that there's an impact to water quality. Community groups using this information will be able to come up with potential solutions. The Haw used to run the color of the dye that they were running through the cotton mills that were upstream. So the Haw is the color of water. That's a significant improvement. We know more about the problems in the Haw, but we're able to take action to mitigate those problems and stop it at the source.